Alright, this is May 12th, 2020. I'm Tony DeLange, and this is the second video in regards to the topic of buying land in Malawi, Africa. Can foreigners buy land? The answer is yes. It's overwhelmingly simple to buy land in Malawi, although it poses a few problems, though, and a few concerns. So, when you bring your Western mindset into the equation, you're going to have questions in regards to not the legalities, but the legalities that could potentially be a problem in the future. For example, when I purchased the land in Malawi, I was thinking about, the land being surveyed. I demanded that the GPS coordinates be established and presented and recorded with the government so that I have evidence that I purchased this land. This is the boundaries in this particular village from the traditional authority and the chief within that village. I also required that the GPS coordinates of the entire village be done and surveyed to determine the land boundaries of the village, because I didn't want the government to come by later to say, hey, everybody in the village is going to have to prove that they own the land that they're residing on, and if they can't, then they're squatters or they're squatting. I mean, that makes sense. If you really think about it, that makes sense. So you do want to bring your Western mindset to the equation and think about these particular things as far as gathering evidence that you are the landowner. You want to do these things in addition to what the traditional authority and the chiefs and the government of Malawi requires. You want as much tangible evidence as possible so that you can establish that you own the mineral rights, you own the easement, or the road, or the GPS coordinates, this amount of acreage. You kind of want to do your surveying, your land title, your GPS coordinates, and anything else that you can think of that will establish you as being the landowner in addition to the paperwork that you're going to sign with the traditional authority and the chiefs. That makes sense? I hope so. Anyways, buying land in the city is pretty much the same process that you would do in the U.S. or Canada or any other Western country, Australia. They have real estate agents. You make an offer. Pretty much the same process. You pay taxes. Government, municipality, utilities, water, sewage or septic. You pay for all of that. Trash. You pay for all that. Now, it's pretty much the same. Although that land is cheap, buying houses is cheap in Malawi. Let me be clear. You can have the best of both worlds. If you want to build a house that's Western, by Western standards, all the bells and the whistles, dishwasher, you can have all of those things in Malawi if that's what you choose to have. But the thing is, and you will probably come out fairly inexpensive in having it built because the labor in Malawi is cheaper. But then it depends on the quality of your laborer. If your laborer is high quality, can build homes and structures by Western standards, you're going to pay Western prices, not only for the labor, but also for the materials. So if you want all of those bells and whistles, you can have it, but it's going to cost you less, but almost just as much as you would in Canada, Australia, US. So, but if you're frugal, kind of use your intelligence, you can get labor cheap or fairly inexpensive. I don't like to use that word cheap, but fairly inexpensive, and get a lot of things done by the locals who know how to do it, and you would have a decent place. You just have to supervise the foundation. You have to supervise every step of the way and kind of guide them with the standards that you want the house to have. You can use mid-grade labor to do that and demand a high quality finish as long as you're guiding them through the process. Malawans are very, very, very hard workers, and they like to learn. They're easy to work with. No problems there. You just have to do your due diligence, lead, guide, instruct, and communicate exactly what it is that you want. And it helps to have somebody who knows English to help you through that process. All of the Western appliances and things like that that you're used to, all that can be purchased in South Africa and brought into Malawi. Some of those things are sold in Malawi, but not very much. It's going to come from South Africa. South Africa has Amazon. They have all the bells and whistles. If you know anything about South Africa, all that can be brought in. You can rent a truck and have a cargo truck go down there, pick up all the things that you need, and bring it into Malawi. That's probably the best way to do it. So yeah, foreigners can own land. Me personally, I like the village life. It's simple, it's laid back, it's far more inexpensive. You can get things from the market inexpensive, but it is third world. Malawi is extremely third world, and I don't mean that in a very negative way. It's just not what you're used to in Canada. It's not what you're used to in the U.S. or Australia. It's not. It's very third world. But the beautiful thing about it is that you can bring your first world standards to a third world and train your neighbors to that standard by the things that you do, the expectations that you mediate out, and you can bring those standards there in your business, in your residential place, in your fishing, uh, whatever it is, skills and abilities and talents that you're going to bring to the table, you're going to bring to a first world standard, whether it be teaching, whatever it is. Bring the first world standard. If you adopt the third world standard, then you won't see progress. So if you're a baker, candlestick maker, automobile mechanic, business owner, mall builder, real estate agent, whatever, bring your first world standards to Malawi and you will change everything, really. Because a lot of the foreigners, Chinese people from China, people from India, and I'm not knocking anybody, but they come to the country and they basically do an extraction process. Everything they do is an extraction process. They build a mall. It's an extraction process. They build a grocery store. They're extracting funds from the economy, from the people, whether it be agriculture. Malawi is like overwhelmingly over 90% agriculture. They employ the farmers to grow ground nuts, macadamia nuts, or whatever it is. They extract that, pay them very, very cheap, take it back to China, never put anything back in, and then they wonder why is the country looking so horrible. It's kind of like it's what happens in like the hood in the U.S. in neighborhoods where a lot of crime and things like that are going on. Businesses come in and just extract, and never bring in the first world standard and maintain that standard. Expect that, set the expectations according to that standard, whether it be the police department, fire department, whatever. If you don't do that, everything just crumbles. It's just some of the laws of nature when you're dealing with economics, business, community living, etc. If you don't bring in a third world standard, if the producers don't set the standard and set the pace, the people, whether it be consumers, blue collar workers, the working poor, everyone underneath that, as far as the top tier producers within the community, if they don't maintain a standard and expect that standard to be followed by everybody up and down the chain in their business and teaching, in every aspect, it's going to crumble. You're going to have a mixed society. You're going to have parts of the city that are good, parts of the city that are bad, and Malawi is no different. I hope that helps. I'll make a video part 3 and elaborate more on some other things about real estate, buying land, and I definitely bought land. I'm buying more land. Malawi's a buy, and we'll talk about that in the next video.